Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right, good morning, hello, and welcome to Cashflows. I'm Cash Matthews, and I am your host here today for this show where we talk about life and those questions relating to life and business and health, and maybe some relationship stuff will come through this, but we call that the good life. And we're glad you're here. And for those of you, I don't know, have you ever felt stranded or stalled out?
Sometimes.
Or like you're walking through about 10 feet of mud? And, have you ever wished that you could just copy success off of your neighbor? And third grade, I got busted for that, copying off my neighbor. I thought it was a problem. It turns out it's one of life's greatest things you can do. And so we like to help people copy off their neighbor when we find somebody who's done something and is working out in the world. So if this is you, you're going to love Cashflows. Our philosophy is fire, aim, ready. And it's about taking action. Too many people are out there in life and they have these great wishes. They have these great dreams. They have these great things they would like to do, as we say in Oklahoma, fixin' to.
Fitting to.
You fickin' to? And anyway, we bring entrepreneurs and leaders from our community around that have actually taken those steps that might be considered, excellent or successful. And we introduce them to you. We get a golden nugget at the very end. We are a show full of golden nuggets. And anyway, we want to make progress. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be progress. Mm-hmm. And this show is about progress. So here we are at Cashflows. Fire, aim, ready. And before we go too much further, let me introduce our esteemed colleague, Mr. Kenneth Bockham. Kenneth.
Hello. How's it going?
Well, what's happening with you?
Oh, well, I was actually just kind of wondering if you had a question mark at the end of ready a second ago. That was a little bit more maybe pensive than the last time.
Ooh. Fire, aim, ready.
Aim? Aim?
Yeah. I can't say that I don't think I've ever been ready. Maybe there should be a question mark.
Fire. Maybe. Well, that was fun. Should we do that again?
Yeah. Fire, aim, ready. All right. Well, let's give it a shot. Hey, I don't, last night, I was trying to talk to you after we left.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at home on the Commodore 64 doing some computing, high-end computing.
Right. Super fast.
Something I like to do. Had a new AOL disc that got mailed to me, America Online.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it was interesting. I had an extra 15 minutes, dropped into a chat room.
Wow.
And I've got three buddies that kind of hang out in this chat room. And my buddy Hink Dog was there.
Okay.
And he had a question for you. He's a big fan.
He asked a question like a few episodes back, too. I feel like he's got a lot of questions.
Well, I don't want to apply a title. Okay. But I'll just say that he's a raving fan.
Ooh, a raving fan. I have a whole history with that particular phrase, but that's not a conversation for now.
Could be a raging fan. I don't remember. I'll just say he was a fan. And he asked me again last night. I had the Commodore fired up. I was connected. And he's like, hey, would you ask that Kenneth guy a question for me again? And I'm like, yeah. What's the story? And he's like, I don't think he answered it correctly, but that last time I asked it, but could you ask him? And I'm like, sure. And I wrote it down. So I'm going to read it to you again, just like I do.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Kenneth, what's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?
Yes. The everlasting question of this podcast. Yes. So things have changed a little bit since last time I answered this question for Hink Dog.
Well, then I'm glad he asked.
Yeah. So
what say you?
Hopefully this answer is better for him. So this time around, I'm actually I'm on a new job, new role, chief investigator for the mystery of the missing pins.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we all have this problem, don't we? Like the pins, they just keep disappearing. We were at a restaurant earlier. We're like, "Where's the pins?" Like, she ended up bringing them out, but that's okay. And
right.
Had to figure it out. But
chief investigator of the mystery of missing pins.
Missing pins.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, very well. Well, congratulations on that promotion.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll make sure that Mr. Hink Dog gets to hear.
Yeah, and if he has any missing, I can come check that out for him. He needs to give me a call.
All right, very well. Well, we're going to get on with the actual part of our show.
The real show, yes.
We actually do some pretty good work here.
Yeah.
I think people are starting to notice, but our guest in the studio today is Daniel Eldridge. And Daniel is the founder of Genesis Family Chiropractic in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. You can actually find them on genesischiro.life, not .com, genesischiro.life.
Yeah. We gotta
like
one
that.
up that calm stuff.
And yeah.
Extra letter and make it meaningful. So boom, life. It's
All right,
important.
genesischiro.life. Daniel, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Our studio audience approves of you being
That's
here.
good. That's good.
We are glad you're here. Now, so your family story is really interesting. And we met your brother James and his wife Maria before we met you.
Yes.
But you were the first person to actually end up in Tulsa?
Correct.
And you were the first chiropractor in the family?
Correct.
And are you the youngest?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I'm not the youngest.
What's the lineage there between you guys?
So first it's James.
James is the oldest.
And then it's me.
And then it's you.
And then we've got Matthew,
right?
Abigail, Catherine.
All right. Okay. And that's
right.
a basketball team.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. Very cool. Well, so how long have you been in Tulsa?
I've been in Tulsa since April of 2021.
So but you're still the old guy in the family. Then James and Maria followed.
They did.
And you were the first chiropractor in the family.
Correct.
Wow. And so
That cracks me up.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
You have to have a lot of spine to ask that joke.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I just had to get those out of my system, though.
Sure.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of jokes, just not many good ones.
I see.
We should have Googled chiropractic jokes.
I still have some.
Okay. Well, just you hit it. I got nothing. So, Daniel, we met you and your family. You guys all moved here from Vermont, New Hampshire?
Yes, New Hampshire.
Vermont, New Hampshire. Aren't they the same
That's
city?
So close.
Yeah. Same country.
They're the same country.
Yes.
And what brought you here? How do you just go, you know what, hey, I'm here on the East Coast. I'm going to Tulsa.
Honestly, it was God.
Yeah.
God working. We were obviously in New Hampshire and had graduated from chiropractic school. We're working for chiropractors in New Hampshire, and it was expensive to live there.
Oh, yeah.
Cost of living in New England is very high.
Yes.
And when you're getting started with your life, getting started with your career and your family, when you can't really even afford to rent an apartment,
Right.
you have to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so we did a lot of Google searches, researched Oklahoma, and how Oklahoma came into our radar was another story, but Oklahoma had a lot of things that we were interested in.
Okay.
And so my brother, who at that time, James, who was a chiropractor, he reached out to chiropractors in Tulsa about what is it like to live in Oklahoma and work in Tulsa. And the first person who got back to him was actually looking for associates to work in his office.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so James told me and my wife, Storm, who's also a chiropractor,
Right.
about that offer. And so we contacted the chiropractor and he hired us.
Wow.
So we
Cool.
moved to Tulsa.
Pretty cool story. Then James and Maria followed.
Then James and Maria followed, and then my mother-in-law, and then my younger brother Matthew and his wife and their kids, and then my parents and grandparents.
So the whole family came.
Everyone except for the sisters, and we're still praying for them.
Okay, well, we got to pray for the sisters. We'll put that
Yeah.
on our prayer list.
Yes.
Maybe we can manipulate them to come down here.
Wow.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, well, congratulations on being in Oklahoma.
Thank you.
I was born here, was away for 30 plus years, but came back 3 years ago, and then met James a couple of years ago at this event called the B.O.N.G.
Yeah.
And I guess the B.O.N.G is how I met Matt and you,
Correct.
and so we're so glad. What's your experience been with the B.O.N.G? I know you're relatively new to the networking group.
Relatively new, but it's been great.
Yeah.
It really has. The focus of the B.O.N.G is what I was looking for, because going into a networking group, a traditional networking group, it's very different. And that was not something that I felt would be serviceable for me.
Right.
But the way the B.O.N.G works, it was very welcoming. It's very
Yeah,
welcoming.
come on, come all.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other chiropractors there, but you guys seem to all get along pretty well.
Exactly.
And with going on 5,700, we had 50 people join yesterday.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah, going on 5,700 people. There's plenty to go around.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of a wealth mentality that we promote. Is like, there's plenty to go around. If you're worried about your competitors, you're probably thinking the wrong thoughts.
You are.
Yeah, very cool. Well, yeah, we're glad you're here. We want to get to know you and talk about chiropractic, and I want to find out about your journey into chiropractic. Like, who wakes up and just becomes a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Like,
how do you align your thoughts around that?
All right, show's over. We got to go.
That's great.
This is more than I can handle. You're gonna have to take it from here, man. I'm done. Just walk through moving into chiropractic.
hmm
You're a young guy. You're a
Yep.
young man. You're married.
hmm
I don't recall. Do you have children?
Yes.
All right.
A 1-year-old and then one on the way.
Oh my goodness. So
Mhm.
you're man. You guys have really added to the population of Oklahoma.
Yes, we have.
This is impressive.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're gonna talk to like the attorney general to get them some tax breaks or something. So talk to us about chiropractic and how you got involved.
So when I was 10 or so, my mom started going to see a chiropractor back in New Hampshire,
Right.
and she had amazing success. Her heartburn, her headaches were all resolved because of chiropractic care.
Wow.
Mm.
Yep. She used to sit up all night late into night because of heartburn. And then after getting adjusted, that went away.
Wow.
And so seeing those results for herself, she wanted to share them with her family.
Right.
So she brought all of us in. And then she loved chiropractic. So she's like, well, I've got 5 kids. Wouldn't it be great if one of my kids became a chiropractor?
Right.
Of course. And so she chose me. She chose me to be the one to encourage to become a chiropractor. And she said, why don't you just go shadow the chiropractor? Just ask her if you can shadow her in the office and see what you think. So I did, and she let me. So I shadowed her for a summer, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. At the time, I was working at restaurants, fast food places, and it was good jobs, but stressful environment, not something I wanted to do
Mm.
for the rest of my life.
Right.
And being there in that office, a welcoming, warm, relaxed, loving environment where you're helping people,
Right.
it was
Yeah, they have a
amazing.
good culture and a good goal to help people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How cool is that?
And I was like, oh, I could do this.
So you come to Oklahoma to do. How do you end up in Sand Springs? Tell me the Sand Springs connection.
So Sand Springs was we knew we were going to be moving here, so we started looking for houses. We visited here in February of 21, just during that right after the ice storm.
Right.
Mm.
Yep, Valentine's Day weekend. And so we visited. We visited the chiropractor, met him, saw his office, and then a realtor we drove around with, him and his wife. They go to the church that we now go to. And they just drove us around to different houses. And at that time, the housing market was just about to go crazy.
Right.
And so it was very difficult to find a house in South Tulsa where the office we were working at was.
Mm.
And so they brought in the search, and Sand Springs showed up. And so we were in New Hampshire FaceTiming the realtor as they walked us through the house. I'm like, well, it looks like a great house. I trust the realtor. It seems to be in a good area, so let's do it.
Run with it. Yeah.
Yep. So we bought the house without even stepping foot into the house,
Right.
Wow.
and then moved here in April.
You and I have that in common.
Yeah.
We came in 2020, October of 2020,
Okay.
and we looked at the house online with our realtor because things were heating up,
Yep.
and we were like, "Yeah, that's good enough."
Sure.
And we took it. It had a pond near it, so we could fish.
It had a roof,
It had a
Had a
roof.
roof.
Yeah, yeah,
a few
yeah.
walls.
It was a few, yeah, and it was awesome. And now we have a house, and
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really think too much of it. It's like, yeah, place to live.
Yeah. Exactly.
The thing that was more important was about getting out and meeting people, and
Yes.
you're able to do that. So
Mhm.
tell us about the name Genesis. How do you?
So Genesis was my wife's idea.
Okay.
So Storm, she had the dream of opening up her own office. I am naturally not an outgoing person.
Right.
So the idea of going into the community and meeting people and putting myself out there is terrifying for me.
Okay.
But she's like, no, we can do this. And so she put the work in to plan the office, and she chose Genesis. And it's something that we aligned with. And
Right.
we both love the Lord, and
So it's
Genesis.
a biblical reference.
It is. Genesis is where everything begins.
And you're beginning your career right here.
Beginning the career, but also we want Genesis Family Chiropractic to be a place that health starts for people.
Oh,
So health starts at Genesis Family Chiropractic.
so I think that's a good idea. People coming to really,
Mhm.
people generally aren't coming to a chiropractor for preventive care. They usually have an issue where it starts,
Correct.
but that's not where it usually ends because
Mhm.
there's all kinds of care that
Yep.
that you guys talk about that's beyond repairing an accident or a strain.
That is correct.
Yeah, good for you. Very cool. So, what do you like the most about chiropractic? And we have a lot of chiropractors in the B.O.N.G group,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and I'm an odd duck. I have known lots of them. One of my golf buddies was a crazy chiropractor and from New York and dressed very poorly, but he loved chiropractic.
Yep.
And I would just go hang out with him.
hmm
And so I've been in lots of chiropractic offices. What fires you up about it?
So, and as you said, there's lots of different chiropractors. There's lots of different ways to practice chiropractic. And
Right.
what I love about it is that, as you alluded at, it's more than just helping you resolve a current issue
Right.
or a health crisis. It's all about promoting good health, optimizing your health so you can live to your best potential and then achieve your health goals, achieve your dreams.
Right.
Because if you don't have your health, then you, it's a big setback for trying to achieve the things you want to in life.
A famous actress once said about health, she said, if you die, you've lost a very important part of your life.
Very true.
Yeah.
And I
It's not
believe
something you can get back.
That's number 5 now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 0-5. At least I'm tied at 0-0. I'm gonna have to go Google some at the break. Well, so I mean, how did chiropractic, and I think you just mentioned it, maybe answered my question in advance, but there are a lot of benefits of
hmm
chiropractic beyond repair.
There are.
And speak to a couple of things about preventive in nature,
hmm
because you said something that kind of is so spot on. It's about optimal health. I
hmm
mean, often we think of health as lack of disease,
We do.
but I think, when you have heartburn like your mom did, that's not necessarily a disease, it's a condition. But
hmm
I think we can move up the health scale
hmm
where it's not just lack of disease, but it's high quality of life. Talk about that for a moment.
Sure. You're right. It's not the absence of disease. It is the proper function of your body.
The proper function,
You
yeah,
Yep, you could have no symptoms but still not be healthy.
right. So, yeah, and I think in this country where healthcare is such a giant issue,
hmm
to be able to, I don't know what the right word is, offload some of that responsibility.
hmm
Um, I don't know where you stand on Western medicine.
I view Western medicine as, I mean, it's great for crisis care,
Right.
right? If
Mhm.
you have a horrible accident or
Sure.
Yeah.
you need like a big surgery or you've got
Yeah.
cancer, I mean, a lot of those things, that's what the medical field is for. But if you're just wanting to walk in good health,
Yeah.
then that's not the medical field's role.
Right.
I feel like I think the medical field is great for crisis care, and you need to do other things to help your health when you're not in crisis.
Well, and the healthcare system is neither healthy, caring, or a system, it seems like, and that these alternative practitioners really seem to be stepping up their game
hmm
and becoming more relevant
Yep.
and becoming more accepted.
hmm
I mean, do you see chiropractic? I mean, I call chiropractic. I mean, to me, you're a doctor of chiropractic,
hmm
right?
Yep. That's
And
correct. And you're right. So I think in recent times those alternatives have become more accepted
yeah,
by the community and by the medical profession. I think that's a trend that's starting.
yeah. We had breakfast with a fellow who does the needle thing, acupuncture,
Acupuncture.
hmm
Yep.
and man, if you'd asked me that 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had a good conversation.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not a fan of being stabbed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Few are.
yeah. Well, but apparently he stabbed one guy in the ear and it changed his life.
Yeah.
hmm
Um,
Maybe a controlled small stabbing is what's
okay.
needed. But anyway,
I'm trying to make a chiropractic joke about, hey, are you past your prime?
well, just be patient.
be,
Wow.
be patient. 0-6, buddy. So you have to have a philosophy. Then you mentioned there are
hmm
lots of chiropractors and
hmm
lots of different styles.
There are.
Like, talk to that for a minute about your style and the way you view chiropractic and the way your chiropractic care works.
Sure. So there's a lot I could say on that. A lot I could say. So basically, the broadest I could say for the office is that we have a very neurological focus.
Okay.
A lot of chiropractors, especially more of the old school kind, they focus on structure more than,
Spine, hips, shoulders,
yes,
all of that.
right? Like
Right.
if your bones are out of alignment, we need to align your bones properly. And there's something to be said for that, but I look at it one step beyond that. So your bones are out of alignment for a reason. And if your nervous system controls everything your body does, your brain, it controls everything.
Hmm.
So if your brain, due to stress you've experienced, put your spine in a certain position, if you were going to just ignore the brain and focus on the spine, so you put it back to where it needs to be, but then the brain's like, well, no, I had it where I had it for a reason.
Right.
So it's just going to go back. So
Uh,
if you can work with the brain and the nervous system to get that to de-stress and function better, it will realign your spine for you in the optimal position.
so there are a lot of, and stress is a buzzword today. I mean,
hmm
I think we're starting to realize that I mean, like there's some badge of honor out in the world, like when you're exhausted.
It's true. It's sad, but it's
And
true.
we all like, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired. And as
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, I mean, we're guilty of that because we work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week for someone else. Talk a minute, just a moment about stress,
Uh-huh.
because I know that's a factor in what's going on in our world.
Oh yeah.
And when you start bringing in the neurological side to body
Hmm.
alignment and body health,
Yep.
I mean, I think you're onto something that many people are talking about.
Hmm. You're right. Stress is a big deal. And it's not just physical stress. People, when they think of a chiropractor, a lot of times think of the physical stress. Oh,
Right,
I got into a car accident or a sports injury.
right,
And obviously, physical stress is a big deal. Not just the big things, but the smaller things. How you sit at your desk,
right.
how you look down at your phone.
Am I sitting okay, by the way?
You're sitting great.
Okay,
That's good.
I feel
From
good.
what I can see. Yep.
Okay, I'm upright. That's a good
That's
story.
good.
But
But
but there is a lot of stress
there
out in the
is
world, and
mental and chemical stress.
yeah, I mean, there's money stress and work stress,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just your I think your overall health is a stressor as well. But
It
you
is.
overlay that with a career that's hard, or
Uh-huh.
you know,
Yep.
I mean, I think stress is a
It is.
silent killer.
It is. Probably the number one contributor to many of the conditions that people suffer.
So it being the silent killer, are there signs of stress we should be looking for?
There are.
And
There are.
I'm asking for a friend.
Of course, of course. So signs of stress would be your posture.
Right.
If you have bad posture, people think bad posture is a bad habit,
Mm,
and potentially, but I look at posture as a neurological problem.
right.
So if your brain is trying to protect you, because what happens when you encounter stress, any kind of stress, your brain goes into fight or flight mode and tries to protect you. And one way to protect you, like if I were to swing a baseball bat at you, you would go into fetal position
Right.
to protect yourself, right? So that's
Right.
what your brain does. It curls your shoulders forward, brings your neck down to try to protect you. So bad posture is your brain's method
Ah.
of adapting to that stress the best it
Whoa.
can.
Okay. Very cool.
Hmm.
So so you're meeting people now, and how do you how does somebody come in and have a unique approach? Like how do you uniquely approach each client, because we're all different,
Hmm.
different body size, different health
Yep.
habits.
Yep.
Like what's the process for you when you intake a new patient?
Hmm.
How do you deal with that?
Sure. It's all about talking about their story.
Oh,
What is the
okay.
stress they've experienced in life,
Okay.
and how has that contributed to the things that they're going through right now, the different health conditions,
Right.
and then talking about their health goals. I love being goal oriented with them. Like they have things they want to achieve in life, and it's shifting perspective. It's not about I want to get out of back pain. That is a great thing that happens when you get adjusted.
Mm,
People get out of back pain. I love it. But why do you want to get out of back pain? Well, because it hurts. Well, of course. But what is it preventing you from doing? What do you want to achieve in life that you are being inhibited by because of
right.
this back pain?
So yeah, I mean, you're not going to sleep as well.
Hmm. I
And
can't play on the floor with my grandkids. I can't
right,
golf as well as I want to.
right. Well,
So
that's most people.
exactly right. For sure. So helping them switch their mindset to what are some achievable goals and functional goals.
Okay.
Hmm.
And are there measurables to you? So how do we know we're making progress? I mean, the
That's great.
pain goes away, we're
Yep.
sleeping better.
Those are all good ways, yes. But also, I love measurable. Measurable is great. So we do different scans of the nervous system in our office to get a
Oh,
baseline for how your nervous system is handling stress, how it's adapting to stress, where it's carrying stress, and then we can do those checkups at reassessments. We do those scans again to see the change in the nervous system.
we had a lady here last week, Bonnie Lynn, marvelous
Hmm.
massage.
Yep.
What a
Mm,
wonderful interview she was, and a great story. And she has done some work on TMJ,
mm-hmm.
and I've had TMJ issues earlier
Oh.
in life, and we had a good discussion about just the stress of life and
Oh yeah,
grinding your teeth. And it's so often we go through and we don't even notice
mm,
that we're creating a behavior
it's true.
like grinding our teeth,
Mm-hmm.
or clenching bruxing our teeth and clenching our
Hmm.
jaw.
Yep, good word there, bruxing.
I hang out with chiropractors,
It's
man.
great.
Yeah, chiropractors and dentists.
Yes.
I'll have
Like,
to look that up on
uh,
WebMD or something.
yeah, okay. I have WebMD. Do you mean I have cancer.com?
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Don't look stuff up on WebMD.
Yeah,
Who's
I
your
know.
primary care physician? Dude named Google.
Wah, wah,
Um,
wah.
yeah, I even had a roommate that was a dentist, and
Okay.
so I learned a lot
Yeah.
about that whole world. But
Mm-hmm.
And I'm asking that because it's an issue that I've had to deal with
Sure.
that I have to be conscious of to go, oh, I'm tense right here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two things. Number one, how do I relieve it? But number two, why?
Yep.
And that's a whole
Conversation.
That's a whole conversation about why are you holding stress in your jaw?
Mm-hmm.
I bet people listening right now, if they would just, think about it, I think a lot of people hold stress in different places.
Absolutely.
And I think some of that is defense.
Oh, absolutely. It is.
I think it's some kind of defense mechanism.
Uh-huh.
Of course, if I say, man, my head itches, and then everybody's head starts to itch. So I don't want people to
Right.
grind their teeth just because we're talking.
Right.
Oh, please
right.
don't. No.
So you have a very different kind of work day. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, some people you're adjusting, some people you're evaluating,
Yep.
some people you're following up with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you see a lot of stuff. What's a normal day like for Daniel Eldridge? Is there a normal?
There really is no normal. Every day is a bit different. Like, you do some of the same things, but the order in which you do them, the cases you're seeing at any given time, it's so different, and it's great. So you wake up and then have a great quiet time if I can, spend some time with my daughter,
Right.
and then head to work and prepare for the day. So make sure that all the appointments that are going to be coming in, I'm ready for. I have all the information ready to give to them if they need it, and then adjust people. Adjust them when they come in.
Right.
And then when new people come in, I love that because then you get to sit down and meet someone and talk to them and get to know them. I think that's one of the coolest things about being a chiropractor is because you get to know people
Right.
on a deeper level.
Yeah, and they have to share with you
They do.
on a very different level
Mm-hmm.
than they can share with their
Well,
coworkers or
exactly. And people want to share with their doctor.
yeah,
A lot of times when people go into their primary care or their medical doctor, one of the complaints we hear is, well, they didn't even touch me. They barely listened.
right.
They were there for 5 minutes. And so we wanted to, in Genesis, create a space where people can come in and talk to us
Mm.
and feel heard and seen and connect with them.
And that is very different than what's happening out in the traditional medical world
Mm-hmm.
today. So Genesis Family Chiropractic, a place you can be heard. We're here today with Daniel Eldridge, the founder and creator of Genesis Family Chiropractic in Sand Springs. You can find them online at genesischiro.life. And we're going to take a moment right now for a brief commercial break to say thank you to our many sponsors.
Yes, we are. We're going to take a pause to appreciate those who make it happen. We are coming to you live from the dynamic space of Elevate Coworking. Our signs crafted by the talented team at CM Customs and spotlighting the innovators from Tulsa's Business Owners Networking Group, connecting great minds across the city. Financial wisdom is at your fingertips with My Financial Plan. Go to joinmfp.com to start that journey. And a special nod to the man behind the camera, Kenneth Balcom Photography, for capturing our best angles. Thanks to our sponsors. Let's dive back in.
All right, we are here today with Daniel Eldridge, the founder of Genesis Family Chiropractic in Sand Springs. And you can find them at, make sure I get this right, genesischiro.life. Make sure it's .life, breathing life into people who would
Yes.
like to keep living.
Uh-huh.
If you are just enduring life, maybe there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have you here today. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being on our show. So we've talked about a lot of things today, and there's a lot of forms of chiropractic,
Mhm.
and I really enjoy the approach to better health,
Mhm.
not just the elimination of disease.
Sure.
And I think that will always be a significant part of the story as we talk over the years about these things.
Indeed.
Do you have some a few patient stories without violating HIPAA
Of course.
that you could share?
Yes. There's a lot. One of them, one brief one. There was a lady who was coming in to see us, and she was, getting adjusted, gonna be coming in for a couple months now. She told me one day after the adjustment, she said, I haven't had to use my reading glasses in a couple weeks. I
Wow.
don't even know where my reading glasses are.
Wow.
And she didn't come in because she had eye trouble. She didn't come in because she was tired of using reading glasses. That wasn't something she really even told us.
Right.
So it was just amazing to see that as she was getting adjusted, her life was improving in ways that she didn't think related to chiropractic.
Right. I just had to get my first set of readers.
Okay.
I'm 62 years old. I have pretty good eyesight,
That's good.
good knees. Like, most of the stuff's still working pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found, and this back to the TMJ conversation
Uh-huh.
we just had, when I'm stressed here, my
Yep.
eyes don't work as well.
Of course.
I don't know what that is,
Yep.
and I don't have to use the readers all the time. But
It's all
man,
connected.
what an amazing story that
Mhm.
is. I would love to hear more about that.
We'll talk.
It
We'll
sounds
talk.
like we're just.
Yeah.
I'll get your appointment
Absolutely.
calendar. I will
Yeah.
absolutely do that.
And one more.
Yeah,
One more that I
yeah.
love.
We can do some more of these. I love
Yeah, we
this.
have 4 more hours.
Oh,
Go
it's
ahead.
great.
Yeah.
Wow, 4
Yeah.
hours. So there was a high schooler, a girl. She had come in after a car accident. So she was there for the pain after the car accident. And then after her first few months of care, we did the reassessment, and I asked her, what's the biggest change you've noticed since getting adjusted?" And she said that her anxiety and depression were a lot better. She
Yeah.
said her words were she used to have what felt like thunderstorms in her head,
Hmm.
and she didn't have those anymore.
And this is a teenage
Mm-hmm.
person.
Teenage girl.
Man, I hope you're onto something there that's that we think is big, because there's a lot of kids are there's a lot of stress in the world,
There is.
and I think that stress comes from a lot of places,
Mm-hmm.
particularly the internet, where everything
Oh,
looks
yeah.
perfect and
Oh,
unbelievable.
man.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we're raising a generation of people that are probably way too stressed for their age level.
For sure.
And how are they going to get out into the workforce?
Mhm.
Because that's actually reasonably stressful.
Indeed.
And well, good work on you for there. And any more stories you want to share? Because I love a good story.
No, that's good there.
Okay, very cool. So I know that what you do is challenging,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I to whatever degree that people pursue something and
Mm-hmm.
become a person of excellence, being a person of excellence creates its own set of challenges,
Does.
but it also creates a unique set of rewards.
Yes.
And I think I know some of the answer, because somebody healed. I mean, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell us some of the challenges and the we'll call it the risk reward section of your career.
Okay. So some of the challenges, I mean, it is that communicating with people, right? So you can do your best at communicating the truth of how the body works and how important the nervous system is and how stress impacts people, but you can't help them ingest that and apply that to their life.
Right.
They have to
Mhm.
make that decision.
Right.
And so, like a lot of people, it's you can do the work to educate, and then you can't want success for them more than they want it for themselves.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Oh, man. Here.
So,
I got to hit the button on that one right there.
Yeah.
so that's the limiting factor, right? And so it's the challenges are when you see someone that you care about who struggles with that limiting mindset of, I want things done fast, I want
Yeah.
things done now,
Right.
and I want it permanent. And that's just not how life works, right?
Right.
If you want something done well, then you have to put the effort in and be consistent with it. And then there's no quick fixes.
True
And
that.
then once you achieve the results, well, if you don't work to maintain something, you lose it.
Right.
And so that's the challenge. Seeing someone you care about not quite grasp it,
Right.
and then give up, essentially.
Right. But
Mhm.
talk about the rewards, though.
The reward, then, the opposite of that, is when you can see someone and you help them achieve their health goals.
Right.
You help them be more than they thought they could be and no longer be limited by the symptoms they had, and then understand it and realize that this is now something they want to incorporate into their life,
Right.
and they stick with it, and they tell others about it.
Very cool. One of the neat things out in life is what, for me in my world, is when a new person comes up and says, "Hey, old Joe over here
Mhm.
told me what you did for them."
Yep.
I bet you love getting a nice referral
Love
from
that.
somebody,
Love
because
that.
that's an endorsement of a very different kind.
It's the biggest compliment you can get.
Yeah, and like, hey, here,
Mhm.
let me trust you with this portion
Yep.
of my life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you didn't just get here by accident. I know you had to go through an educational
Mm,
process. What?
indeed.
And I literally have no idea. I never asked one of my chiro
Hmm.
buddies, like, what's the educate, like, how,
Uh-huh.
what's the rule? You just become a doctor. I mean, it's got to take at least 6 weeks.
At
At
least 6 weeks. At
least.
least,
Yeah,
yes.
an online class, 6
Oh, yeah.
weeks. You're good.
Oh, I wish. No, I don't wish that, because I did enjoy school. So you depending on which state you go to and you practice in, most states require you to have your undergrad, at
Right.
least. And then chiropractic school is after that, and that was 3.5 years.
Wow.
So 3.5 years straight through a quarter system, so 14 quarters of chiropractic school.
Wow.
And in the beginning, a lot of the classes, the vast majority of them it's basically the same trajectory, same tract that medical doctors go through.
Right.
So you're learning about the body, anatomy, physiology, how it works, and then you're learning about disease and how the body breaks down and what those look like. And then you learn a lot about the structure. And then on top of all that, then you start to mix in the adjustments and the
Right.
techniques and the
Right.
patient care and communication and chiropractic philosophy.
So your educational background prior to chiro school, what was that?
So that was my undergrad was molecular biology.
I was thinking about that,
hmm
Ooh.
and yeah, I didn't do it. I got
Uh,
my degree's meathead business.
I see.
That was actually the title.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the title.
Yeah,
The
meathead
other,
business.
the other MB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, meathead business associate. It's an MBA.
Yeah. MBA. Oh,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
nice.
PhD also public high school diploma.
Oh, right,
That's
right,
great.
right.
Yeah, so I mean
Congrats.
things are looking up. Well, so you're molecular biology.
hmm
I don't even know what to ask at that point. Like, oh yeah, me too.
I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Do you have any jokes for molecular biology?
I can in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, get
Okay.
that Google
I'll
thing
get
up.
on that.
I'm excited for that.
So, but how did that part of your education affect this part of your career? I mean, that's
Mm.
they work together, right?
They do. They do in some degrees. So a lot of biology classes, a lot of chemistry classes in undergrad. So you really immunology was one of my favorite ones. Learning how the immune system works,
Right,
and so that plays into knowing how the body works in chiropractic school.
right,
So it really helped prepare the way for all of those core classes I had to take. And then I really do love knowing how the body works
right,
because if I'm working with the body and the nervous system, I should kind of know what's going on there.
right. So you got to Tulsa right at the end of COVID,
Basically,
kind of.
ish.
Like how did that affect your business? Because
Mm,
that's been a great question for lots of business owners.
mm-hmm.
Some had a positive impact,
Mm-hmm.
and some it was just devastating. What did COVID do anything to your business?
So at the time, COVID mostly hit when I was working in New Hampshire, and
Right.
yes, there was a decline in the number
Yeah,
of
nobody
people we were
wanted to go
seeing.
outside.
Exactly. And then here, so for the first 2.5 years here in Tulsa, I was associating with a chiropractor in South Tulsa.
Right,
And so, yes, there were people there who stopped going to see them,
right,
stopped going to see us because they didn't want to be out,
right,
right? But we wanted to be a place where fear wasn't the motivating factor. And there's a lot you can say about COVID, but we wanted to be a place where people could still come out and get human connection
right.
and love and continue to work toward good health.
You- I would think that there would be like that rebound because people have been locked up for however
hmm
long,
Oh, there was.
and number one, they need the care,
hmm
and number
Mhm.
two, they need the connection.
Yep.
And I mean, the connection is also part of the care, in my opinion.
Oh, it is.
Like
It is.
that's one of the biggest parts of
Mhm.
our bond group that we're both part
Yes.
of. The connection is what
Mhm.
really drives everything.
So true.
And we were coming out of COVID, and people were, you can't build a relationship on a Zoom call,
No,
and you can't do medical, especially hands-on medical care over
you
Zoom.
cannot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you can be like, all right, scratch, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I just find that an interesting time because
Mhm.
we were coming to town about that same
Yeah.
time,
Yep.
and it was just a very unusual environment to be
Mhm.
developing or redeveloping a business.
Yeah.
So how do you raise awareness about the benefits of
Mm.
chiropractic? I know you come to the Bong Group,
Yep.
and we want to have you up on the big stage as soon as we can, so that you can talk about what you do. We're big fans of the Eldridge family,
Thank you.
and we think you guys are writing an amazing story, and decreasing the population of New Hampshire,
Yes.
Right. Right.
and simultaneously raising the tax base here in Oklahoma.
Sure.
On behalf of the state taxing authorities, we want to thank you for being here. Uh, but sorry, how do you get the word out that chiropractic is what it is, and the quality that it brings to someone's life? How do you talk about that?
So there's two different ways. Directly, we like to do health talks in the community.
Okay,
So we talk to local restaurants
oh,
and work with them to plant what we call a fishbowl or a ballot box
hmm,
in the restaurant. And then when people come in to order food from them, they can put their business card into the box. And then we call them and try to set up a health talk with them and their team. And we will give them lunch from the restaurant that we drew the business card from.
Hmm.
So it
Oh,
helps the restaurant get their name out, get their doing business to them,
sure.
and then helps educate different businesses in the community about chiropractic care and how we can help them alleviate stress and function better.
And you do those health talks at your location?
We'll go to the different businesses.
Oh, wow. So you can
hmm
go on site. That's a
Yep,
great
on
idea.
site.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you work with podcast companies?
I think we
Only
could.
only if they have chemistry.
Oh,
Sure. Wow, that was close.
And was it a hard sell?
yeah.
Wow.
Microbiology jokes.
Yeah,
Just,
sometimes they don't land. No.
yeah.
But and that idea is not original to us. So I'm not going to claim credit for the idea, that marketing idea,
Well, it's
with
all
the
right.
health talks.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
so many good people have done
very
that.
few of the things that we do in life we actually created. We observe them,
Very true.
we recognize them to
hmm
be of value,
Yep.
and then we appropriate them.
hmm
We
And
borrow them
we use the word
sometimes with credit.
we put the word appropriate in there.
Appropriate,
Yeah,
yes.
so very cool. We are here today with Daniel Eldridge, the founder of Genesis Family Chiropractic in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. GenesisChiro.life. Also can find you on the Facebook. If you haven't heard of the Facebook, it's a web thing you can go to and find people and argue.
Mm.
And find cat
Yes,
cat
that's
videos and
right.
argue. It is a wonderful contraption.
It's an amazing place.
We're there. We're going to come back to Daniel, wrap up his show. Great job today. We want to get a golden nugget
Mm.
tip from you today that can be applied to life or business or health or
Okay.
relationships. Daniel, what say you?
Well, there's a few things I could say. The one that comes to mind when it comes to business or health, or just life in general. So when I look at it in terms of health, is health a destination or a direction? You could say for your success, is a destination or a direction?
Right?
And a lot of people might think it's a destination, like I've achieved something, I've reached the destination of success or good health.
Right.
But a destination is something that once you reach it, few people stay at a destination. If you're traveling somewhere, you want to reach your vacation spot, you reach your destination and you stay there for a little bit and then you leave.
You turn around and go home.
Exactly. So a direction, health is something you walk toward. You're doing the things that promote good health. Success is something you are walking toward, doing the things that promote good success.
Wow.
You don't ever reach good success and then be done. You have to keep at it, keep working toward it.
All right.
Same
Very
thing for your
good.
health.
Message from Dr. Daniel Eldridge here, the founder, and we're trying to give you some titles here,
Sure.
of Genesis Family Chiropractic, GenesisChiro.life. And his message today is, health is a direction, not just a single destination.
Indeed.
And that you achieve that by persistency and consistency,
Indeed.
but also by building a team of people who care about you. And the folks over at Genesis Chiropractic can be part of that team. So look them up. Daniel, thanks for being here today. What a great interview.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you very much. Are we ready to wrap this show up, Captain?
Well, I think we're pretty much ready. I did have one more question
Oh, fire
for
away.
our guest.
Oh, no.
What do you do on like casual Fridays? Do you do that at the office?
Casual Fridays.
Yeah, wear your jeans to work?
Oh, indeed.
Jeans.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. That's another one.
That was yeah.
Okay, I'm done now.
Okay. Hey, by the way, we are hiring a new joke writer here at the Cashflows Podcast.
Podcoast.
Hey, we can change the name. It's our show.
So
That's true.
someone to spell on the cue cards as well,
Yeah.
so that we read the right words.
That we're looking for that anyway. That's going to be a wrap for today's show. We want to thankful for our guests and our sponsors who continue to make this show come to life. Without all of you, where would we be? And we are thankful for our guests who are watching and sharing this show with their friends. And we hope these wonderful people that we bring in add a nugget of value to your life, maybe just one thing extra that they can think about and contemplate. So as we get out of here, let's remember to go out in the world and be nice to each other. That's a choice and not a reaction. Let's do the right thing for those people around us. And let's do one more thing today. Let's go out in the world and find somebody that absolutely does not deserve it, and let's forgive them, because forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about ourselves, and it's about demonstrating that love that we all enjoy, and that we've all been forgiven because we've all fallen short. And let's be considerate of the other guy today. So to our three buddies, Dennis, Stu Bob, Hink Dog, these are the guys that are waiting for us down at Quick Trip. You guys are so kind to always come onto our Facebook page and like our posts on a daily basis. We're thankful for you guys. And by the way, Jerky is on sale half off today, as is Red Bull. And we're going to jump in the truck. We'll be right over. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for being part of Cashflows.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cashflows.